time with me, Elisha, on NSK TV. Today, we're going to be making our very own sock monsters. How cool is that? Look at him. So, if you're ready to make your own sock monster, I want you to shout as loud as you can at your screens on the count of 3. You ready? 1, 2, 3, let's go. Oh, I can't hear you. You're all very quiet. I need you to wake up, give yourself a shake up and get ready to scream because we're going to make our own sock monsters. You ready? Another count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow, that was so loud. Well done, guys. So I think you're all ready. Should we get started? Yeah? Let's go. Okay, boys and girls, so now that I know you are all wide awake and ready, let's see what we need to make our very own sock monster. So the first thing you're going to need is a sock. Now make sure it's a full length sock like this one because we need all the material we can get to make our monsters. I've chosen for a fluffy sock, but you can also go for ordinary socks like these ones if you want. This is just a pack of 6 from Tesco's. But this one I think adds a little bit more texture and makes my monster extra snuggly. So the next thing that you are going to need then is a Sharpie or a permanent marker, just something that will show up on the sock fabric. Make sure that you've got a vibrant colour one so that it shows through because it's got to mark out where we need to cut out with our scissors. If you can't see it, then we can't cut it out. Then you're going to want to get yourself some super duper sharp scissors to make sure it can cut through the fabric of the socks. But because they're really sharp, make sure that you have an adult to supervise you while doing this because we don't want you to get hurt. Then you're going to want to get yourself some thread. Now I've chosen a really bright colour thread so that it shows through with the sock monster to add a little bit more colour into it. With the thread you also need a needle, but the needles are very, very sharp. So like the scissors, make sure you have an adult around to supervise you so that you don't hurt yourself. So you're then going to want to get some eyes for your monster. Now I've got these googly eyes because they move around when you move your monster and they come in loads of different sizes. So you can make your monster as crazy as you want him to be. But you can also use buttons or pom-poms or whatever you want that's round and that can make an eye. And last but not least, boys and girls, what you're going to want to go and get yourself is some stuffing. Not the stuffing that you eat on your Christmas dinner though. This stuffing looks like a giant cloud, so you can tear up into tiny little pieces. Now this goes inside of our monsters to make them really cuddly, but because we're not allowed to go outside, and I know that most of you probably won't have some stuffing at home, you can use an old t-shirt cut up into tiny little pieces or any fabric whatsoever that's old and that isn't being used anymore. Just cut it up into tiny little pieces and you can stuff your monster with that instead. Okay, boys and girls, so the first step that we need to do is we need to fold our sock inside out, just like this. And we need to make sure that this heel bit is at the front because this is going to make our mouth of our sock monster. Okay, so you then want to get your vibrant Sharpie and you're going to mark out a little half circle here for the ears. Then you want to move on to the bottom of the sock for the legs. So all you're going to do is draw a line down here and curve it round to make your legs, but make sure that you keep them the same size so that he doesn't have one leg longer than the other. So you're then going to want to cut along the lines that you've just made. So as you can see, I've just cut along here for the legs, and now you're going to want to cut this half circle here for the ears. Once you've cut out the ears, then you're going to be left with this little bit of material here. Now you need to draw out with your Sharpie again the arms. I always find it nice to get the top bit of the sock, which would usually be around your ankle, and make sure that that's there because that's one solid colour, and then you haven't got loads and loads of patterns clashing in one. But again, make sure you have an adult to help you cut these out in case it's too tricky. Now once you've cut out these two pieces, make sure you keep an eye on them because they can come apart really easy and you can lose them. Especially if you've got a cheeky monster, then they might run away. So make sure that you put them on the side nice and carefully and make sure they don't run away at all. Then you want to get your needle and thread and carefully thread your thread through the eye of the needle just like this. Now an adult might need to help you out with this bit because it's very, very tricky. But then once you've got that, then we can start sewing our sock monster together. Once you've got your needle and thread ready, we're going to start sewing the top of the head. Now an adult might have to help you with this bit because it's very, very tricky, but start at the point of the ears here and pull your thread all the way through, but make sure you leave a little tail here to go in the middle. So then when you get your thread, you can thread through on the other side and repeat that same process, and it will secure this tail so that the threads will not come through whatsoever. So once we've got to this bit and you're at your last thread of the ears, pull the needle through and then pull it through this big loop that should be there, and you are going to be tying a knot there. Do that a couple of times and then the thread will be secure and you can just cut it off. Then we're finished with the ears. So once we've finished sewing up the ears, then you're going to want to grab the bottom of the monster and start to pull him out. Make sure that you poke the ears through, but this way he's back the right way he should be, and you should end up with him looking a little bit like this. Now it's time for the fun part because we get to start to stuff our monster. So grab your stuffing or your old t-shirt and fabric and just tear it apart and then start to stuff, and make sure that you get the ears first so that they have all the points filled with the stuffing. So when you're stuffing, make sure that you stuff the heel part of the sock so that it brings out its face even more. Once you're happy with how much you stuffed, then we can start to sew the legs up. So now that you've stuffed your monster in its head and body, we're now going to move on to sewing up the legs. So this way we have to sew up one leg and stuff that leg, then sew up the next leg and leave a little gap here to stuff the rest of the monster. So for the stitching for the legs, what we're going to do, you're going to go in the middle and pull out this side and then pull through your thread. Again, leave a little bit of a tail here to stay inside the leg, and you're going to go back on yourself through the middle and back out the other side. So you're almost doing a zigzag, okay? So in the middle and out the other side, pull that through, then in the middle and out the other side. So once you've stitched this leg, we're then going to grab our stuffing and start to stuff it, ready for us to stitch the rest of the leg. Make sure that you push through and push right in the corners, just like we did with the ears, because we want to make sure that it's full up. Use as much stuffing as you like. Just keep going until you're satisfied. So once we've finished stuffing that leg, then we can stuff more of the body if you want to, but then we need to move on to stitching this leg up. But remember to leave this side open to stuff this leg. So once we've stitched up that side of the leg and we've left this side open, we're then going to stick our needle there and grab the rest of our stuffing and stuff this leg until it's full. Now once you've stuffed that leg, you can carry on stitching all the way to the end. So once you've stitched up that side of the leg, you then just want to go into the material and back through the loop, just like we did with the ears, just to pull it off and tie it off. So now that we've done the body of our sock monster, we're now going to be moving on to the arm. So I've already done an arm to show you what it's going to look like. But first, we need to, an easy way to remember it is we've still got our lines of our permanent marker. So these are the lines that we're going to stitch on, and you're going to do the same stitches as you did for the head. So if you don't remember, I'll refresh your memory. Pull the needle through and then go over the material. And just keep doing that until you come to here. Again, get an adult to help you with this, as this is very tricky. Once you've stitched around all three of the edges, then you're going to want to turn it inside out again so that it's the right way, and then grab your stuffing and start to stuff the hand. Then once you've stuffed it, then stitch up this side. So the way that we're stitching up this edge, we're going to do it the same as we did with the legs. So you want to go through the middle and out that end, leave a tail, and then repeat it all the way until the end. So now that you've stitched up your two arms, we can then start to attach them onto the body so that they'll look like this. So this part's very hard, so make sure you do have an adult doing this bit. What I like to do is use one part of the pattern that is equal on each side to measure up for the arms. So I'm going to use this white stripe and make sure that the arms are then level. You're going to get your needle and you're going to want to go through the material like this, pull the thread all the way through, and you want to leave a tail that goes in the middle. Okay? Then you're going to get your arm with your needle and go through on the arm so that that pulls through. Make sure that you hold this tail as well so that it doesn't come off. Then once you've done that, you're going to get your needle, go through, and just repeat that step over and over again of going through the fabric and then through the arm. So once you're happy with that, then you can just stitch through the arm and again go through the loop and tie it off. Then grab your other arm and repeat on the other side. So once you've stitched your arms on, then you can stick your eyes on, just like this little guy. And like that, you are finished. So there you have it. We've made our very own sock monster. Have you enjoyed yourselves? I can't hear you, you've gone all quiet again. I want you to shout as loud as you can if you've enjoyed yourselves or not. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Wow, that's amazing. Isn't that great, guys? Well, I hope you make your sock monsters all throughout summer and have loads and loads of fun. And we'll see you next time. Bye.